What if I told you that the great Moses, the man who led the Israelites out of Egypt, had a son who vanished from history? Why is this figure, tied to one of the most pivotal moments in religious history, shrouded in mystery? Let's uncover the enigma of Moses' son, Gershom. Moses is one of the most revered figures in history. Known as the leader who freed the Israelites from slavery and received the Ten Commandments, his life is detailed extensively in religious texts. Yet when it comes to his family, there's a glaring omission: his son, Gershom. Unlike his father, Gershom is a footnote in history, barely mentioned in the Bible or historical accounts. Was it intentional, or did history simply forget him? Let's start with the basics. Gershom was the firstborn son of Moses and Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, a Midianite priest. Gershom's name, meaning "I have been a stranger in a foreign land," encapsulates Moses' feelings of exile while living in Midian after fleeing Egypt. Unlike other biblical figures born to great leaders, Gershom is not depicted as an heir to Moses' mission. Instead, he is a silent figure in the narrative. His brother Eliezer is mentioned alongside him, but neither emerges as a prominent character. This raises the question: was Gershom ever meant to play a significant role in the unfolding of the biblical story? To understand Gershom's erasure, we must examine the turbulent era Moses lived in. Moses was leading a massive and complex revolution, guiding a people out of slavery and into nationhood. This period of upheaval demanded singular focus on the collective destiny of the Israelites. It's possible that Moses' family life took a back seat during these monumental events. Gershom, born in a time of relative obscurity in Midian, may have struggled to find his place in the dramatic events that followed. Could his upbringing in a Midianite household have distanced him from the Israelite community? Perhaps his Midianite heritage became a point of contention in a time when Israelite identity was being forged. The Bible is surprisingly sparse on Gershom's story. He first appears in Exodus 2, when Moses names him after his feelings of exile. Later, in Exodus 18, Gershom is mentioned briefly when Jethro reunites Moses with his family during the Exodus. However, one of the most curious references comes in Judges 18, where a descendant of Gershom is identified as a priest to the Danites. Intriguingly, some translations alter the text to conceal Gershom's connection to Moses, hinting at a possible embarrassment or controversy surrounding his lineage. This scarcity of detail invites speculation. Was Gershom's story deliberately minimized to maintain the focus on Moses' divine mission? The erasure of Gershom may also reflect the cultural and religious priorities of the time. Moses is portrayed as a singular figure, prophet, leader, and intermediary between God and the Israelites. Highlighting his family might have detracted from this image of solitary greatness. Additionally, Gershom's Midianite heritage might have been problematic in the eyes of later Israelite writers, who emphasized purity of lineage and devotion to Yahweh. Zipporah's Midianite background and Gershom's mixed identity could have led to his marginalization in narratives that sought to elevate Moses as the quintessential Israelite leader. What does archaeology tell us about Gershom? Unfortunately, the answer is not much. Unlike other biblical figures whose stories are sometimes corroborated by inscriptions or artifacts, there's no material evidence of Gershom's life or legacy. This absence highlights the challenges of reconstructing history from ancient texts. Could the lack of evidence be due to Gershom's relatively unremarkable life? Or does it reflect a deliberate effort to erase him from the historical record? Scholars continue to debate these questions, but the silence is deafening. Religious traditions offer differing views on Gershom. In Judaism, his absence underscores the collective journey of the Israelites, where individual family members, even Moses' own son, are secondary to the nation's story. Christian interpretations often focus on Moses' prophetic mission, which required him to prioritize God's work over his family. Gershom's marginal role is seen as a reflection of Moses' total devotion to his divine calling. Yet these interpretations also raise questions about the sacrifices leaders make and the legacies their families inherit, or fail to inherit. Gershom's erasure points to a larger phenomenon in history: the selective memory of great figures. Many individuals, no matter their potential, are overshadowed by their proximity to greatness. Gershom's story, or lack thereof, reminds us that history is not just about who is remembered, but also who was forgotten. In a way, Gershom represents countless figures whose lives were deemed unimportant by the chroniclers of their time. His silence challenges us to think critically about the narratives we accept and the voices we overlook. So, why was Moses' son erased from history? The answer lies in a combination of historical, cultural, and theological factors. Gershom's mixed heritage, his father's towering legacy, and the priorities of ancient writers all contributed to his obscurity. But his absence also invites us to reflect on the nature of legacy. Gershom may not have been a leader like his father, but his story, or the lack of it, offers valuable lessons about memory, identity, and the ways we construct history. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking explorations of history's forgotten stories.